All cats old enough to catch their own prey gather here beneath the podcast for a clan meeting. Welcome to Paws Clause, a podcast where we read the Warrior Cats books in chronological order. I'm Scout, joined by my co-host and irreverent traveling skald, Jill, and today we will be discussing Omen of the Stars, Book 6, The Last Hope. Hello, my friend.
Hello.
How are you today?
I am good. I'm sleepy.
It's been a busy weekend for me because today was a lot of podcasting prep because there was a lot of research to be done and a lot of book to summarize.
There's a lot of book here for sure.
There's a lot of book here for it not being any longer than any of the other books.
Yeah, exactly.
And then yesterday we played some Draw Steel, which is what my little epithet for you today is referencing.
Indeed.
I was very excited to see your new Bardy character in action. We love Asphodel in this house.
It was an absolute delight. I think it's mostly so my husband was out of town this weekend and Zelda decided that she needed to be attached to me. Specifically my chest. All night.
She was your sleep paralysis demon.
She was. It was very sweet, but also she did not let me rest.
Oh.
It was very sweet though. I do love her so much. And she gave me some cuddles after dinner while I was trying to do research for our podcast. And trying to take notes. She just sat right down in front of my computer and I'm like, guess I'm not typing out my notes. Guess I'm just like looking back at where I marked in the book. Is that
the time that Eric sent me a photo?
Yes.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Yes. That is exactly where she was, laying directly on my chest.
She was holding you hostage, your very own warrior cat.
She was. I know. But yeah, so I feel like we both had pretty busy weekends.
Yeah, busy weekends. Haven't gotten to record in a while. I'm excited to be back in the podcasting seat.
Yeah, me too.
We had a couple delays. You weren't feeling well last week.
I wasn't feeling well. What else went on? We just have had so much. 2025 really has been doing it to us so far.
It has been doing it to us. I think it's been doing it to everybody. To be fair,
agree.
But
for sure.
So I'm sure that everybody understands that we've had.
Yeah.
Appreciate everybody, all our listeners and everything. Not caring too much about delays as we get our schedule in order.
Yeah, it's been a lot going on. But it's been. But we are here and we're finished with Omen of the Stars.
We are finished with Omen of the Stars,
which is crazy.
It is. I'm so excited. I think I'm gonna have a lot. I feel like we're gonna have a lot to chew on with this book. I've got a lot of thoughts.
I have a lot of thoughts. I have many pages marked in my book.
So before we get to that, how is the prey running?
The prey is running pretty good. I made my very favorite pasta dish on Friday night.
Hell yes.
Which is bow tie pasta with roasted zucchini and yellow squash and roasted shallots. Technically grilling them is the way we originally did. We did it while I was at home. But I don't have a grill, and I'm not going to the pool to grill vegetables.
No.
So
we love
I roasted them.
Roasted vegetable.
Yeah. So roasted vegetables, bow tie pasta, olive oil, lemon juice. I added a little lemon zest, salt, pepper, and goat cheese. And you mix it all up. Ooh, it's so good. Eric hates it because he doesn't like squash and zucchini. So it is a only when the husband is out of town kind of meal.
That's your special little just for Jill dish.
Yeah, that's my special little treat just for me is veggie pasta. Oh, and I ordered from, there's a really good Japanese place. Like not a hibachi place, but like a Japanese restaurant. And I ordered their steak yakitori for dinner the other night. Dude, when I tell you this was divine.
Oh.
It was so good.
Oh, it sounds so good.
What about you? What have you guys been cooking and planning?
Let's see, what have we been cooking up? I had some leftover lasagna for lunch today. So in the pasta zone, it was a really good lasagna. Mom and Dad kind of collabed on it, made it a week or a week and a half ago, and then we had some. But it's the never-ending lasagna. There's somehow still a portion left, and I feel like I've eaten it like 7 times.
Incredible.
But like had mushrooms and ground sausage and ricotta cheese, all the good stuff. I made oyakodon for the first time this past week.
Ooh.
Which was really, really tasty. Kind of chicken and egg over rice. And I made some medium grain rice. Usually we just go with like a jasmine rice. But I made some medium grain rice, which isn't quite like the really sticky short grain stuff, but is still a little stickier and firmer than, or not firmer, but just like the texture is a little different from a jasmine. And it was really nice, really tasty. Definitely probably a meal that I will be adding to my usual rotation because it was so tasty and so easy to do. Just like throw everything in a pan, then cook some eggs in it, and then put that over rice. Like, come on. What more could you want?
What more could you want?
Yeah, been doing good on food. Love food.
I love food. Yeah, we had burrito bowls tonight from our favorite burrito place.
Hell yeah.
Oh, so good.
We're making cottage pie tonight.
Oh, I love cottage pie.
I love cottage pie too, and I cannot remember the last time that we made cottage pie, so I'm very excited to have it.
Yeah, God, it's been forever since I've made it too. Man, maybe I should make that next week.
It's
cold enough.
Yeah, it's like surprisingly chilly. It was really warm this last week here, but this weekend, cold front came in. It's really chilly, so it's like the perfect like day to have cottage pie for dinner. So very excited about that.
Love that.
Should we talk about some covers?
I am just looking now at my cover because it's the same as this first image you have.
Mm-hmm.
And the way some of the eyes have the fucking like...
the glint on them, I know.
Yeah.
So that's the first one I have here in my little cover adventure is the backdrop of the Wayne McLaughlin original printing. And it is the dark forest full of eyes and only eyes. Like there is no cat form.
It is very genuinely spooky.
It is really spooky. And I like that there's a variant of colors. There is some that are green, some that are yellow, some that are, more whitish, bluish. And it's really fun that it is just all of these sort of encroaching eyes. It feels like a fucking Kingdom Hearts game in here.
Yeah.
Or the reference I made in the document, beginning of Cats the musical looking image, which I don't know.
Yeah.
This is specifically what the beginning of I think it's 1999. There was like a VHS, official taping of the West End version, I think, that they saw. It was one of those things that like you would watch PBS and they would be like,
for a pledge of $100, we will send you the video cassette recording of tonight's program. 2 hours, uninterrupted, uncut. It's great. You'll love it.
That's the VHS, and it was a thing that I watched so much as a child. And the opening credits is like an opening credits crawl, kind of, with just all of these like cat's eyes, and they go back and forth in like depth of field, and there's like meowing noises. It's really funny.
Yeah, I feel like you've sent that particular
almost certainly, probably, because
I'm
sure because it's a thing that just lives in my head.
Yeah.
One time I did get to see a traveling production of Cats where they did something evocative of that, which was they put all of the cats in these like headbands that had LED eyes on them that looked like the cat's eyes, and then they sent them all like out into the audience to sort of prowl around the audience during the overture.
Every decision made with a production of Cats just
Cats the Musical is really something where I feel like every time you go to it, if you go to see Cats the Musical, there's going to be some production choice that you're just like, wow.
There's going to be some whack decisions. And you know what? Probably more than one.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at you, Cats the Musical, the film, 2019?
2019. Unbelievably 2019.
Unbelievably 2019.
Unbelievably.
It was almost
2020. It was a harbinger of doom.
It was, because it was almost the last movie I saw in theaters before COVID hit. I was narrowly saved by going to see Sonic.
I was going to say, wasn't it
Day.
Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, it was Sonic instead of Cats. But my friend Melissa, who I went to go see Cats with, did not see another movie after Cats before COVID hit. So Cats was her last movie before COVID.
Cats was the harbinger.
And woo boy, we were like the only two left in the theater at the end of that screening.
Inexplicably, I still haven't seen that movie, which is just...
Don't.
I feel like I have to.
We saw it before the adjusted cut came out. What didn't they fixed the feet or something?
Did they do?
We saw it pre-foot fix.
When the feet were bad, were the feet really bad?
Yeah, they were horrible.
Everything was bad. I looked at images of the film and I looked at clips of the film. It looks bad. It's good.
Horrible. There is fully a scene where it looks like Jason Derulo is sucking toes.
Oh no. Why have they done this?
Oh, so bad.
Oh no. It just kind of haunts me. You know, at the edge, like at the periphery of my vision, I'm haunted by Cats 2019.
Yeah, you should be.
The only thing anybody should ever feel about that movie is haunted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really need... Shut the fuck up.
Wait, what? What happened?
I went onto the Wikipedia. The film's visuals were completed just hours before the film's premiere.
Hours?
Hours.
Hours?
Hours.
That's too little time. It should not be getting cut that close. Gamers? It's hours. My heart goes out to that production team.
Yeah, the original release contained numerous CGI errors and glitches, such as one scene in which Judi Dench's human hand, complete with her wedding ring, appears instead of old Deuteronomy's cat paw.
Did they change out the hands for paws?
I mean, I think it was all CGI is the thing.
Everything, huh? It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be like this. They made the little latex suits that are all painted and all of the actors did their own cat makeup. They figured it out. You could have just done that.
Yeah, no, it was... Scout, this is why I'm saying you don't need to see it. It's because it was a CGI mess.
I know.
Like, it was very clearly not, like, bodysuits. It was very clearly just CGI.
I can't believe
Here's another fun thing. In a 2021 interview with Variety, Lloyd Webber claimed his negative reaction to the film had directly inspired him to adopt a dog.
Man, that's the most fucking Andrew Lloyd Webber comment I've ever heard in my life.
And then Simon Wells, who was previously set to direct the animated film adaptation for Amblimation, said that the live-action version had, quote, a lot of things about it that are not good, unquote.
I just took psychic damage hearing Amblin animation animated adaptation because that would have been so much the superior choice of how to adapt Cats the Musical.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely. You could have gotten the fucking Fievel guys to animate those cats. Come on, guys.
Yeah, well, CGI, baby. It's the future. Anyway, sorry for that.
Welcome. We are not immune to Cats 2019 on this podcast.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to bring up how bad it is sometimes.
Wow, I've been cursed with knowledge. Positive, negative, positive.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. The traditional Chinese language edition, first edition cover. Let me make it a little bigger. I just thought that all of the cats fighting looked really cool on this one, so I wanted to highlight it briefly. I love the one StarClan cat that we have in the background that's just beating the shit out of somebody.
Just going pop, 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 pop.
cat with the foot. I really like this calico that's in the front.
Oh, yeah.
With the feathery tail.
I feel like that's Maple Shade.
Yeah, that's got Maple Shade energy to me. Although, could it be that the one in the back is Maple Shade? Is that the Maple Shade Spottedleaf fight? No, probably not.
No.
That doesn't look enough like Spottedleaf to me. That's StarClan cat.
No, that's just a StarClan cat, I feel like. Presidential alert. The girls are fighting.
Yes! The girls are fighting in this book. Let me tell you.
Oh, boy.
And then I just really briefly, there's the simplified Chinese edition cover that I just really liked because it's Firestar and Tiger Star with like their foreheads touching and they're both screaming. It looks like they would be doing the
Oh, the fucking cowboy thing? Yeah.
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 Always like there's really good consistency with Tiger Star when he appears, that he has this shredded up ear and the scar on his nose. I really like that that's very much consistent through pretty much any depiction that we see of him.
It's really good character design too. Like,
it's great.
It just makes him, especially because he's just a fucking big ass tabby. It's like, okay, there's like 15 big ass tabbies in this book.
And they're all evil.
They're all evil. Hey, don't do Brambleclaw like that.
I would never do Brambleclaw like that. Victoria Holmes would. We'll get to that in the Erin Corner later. That's a little bit of a preview.
I saw that there was a lot in the Erin Corner, so I purposefully did not look.
Yeah,
so that
I found a lot of stuff, and honestly, I probably could have spent like another hour to hour and a half doing Erin Corner research and found more stuff because I was just finding a ton. But I was like, I've already been at this, like, between writing the summary and doing the Erin Corner, it had been 3 hours, and I was like, no, I gotta stop. I
don't get paid for this.
We pay AJ to edit it. We don't get paid for our time. We just do this for the love of the game.
It's true.
I just really wanted to talk about the Japanese language edition real quick because what is happening with this cat?
He looks like you know when like old people take their dentures out?
Yes, he does look like that. I don't even know who this is. Broken Star, maybe?
That can't be Broken Star.
I guess not, but there's like the dark forest tendrils around him. So I feel like it's one of the dark forest cats.
Hawkfrost, maybe?
Oh, maybe. The eye color is wrong, but I made him big. I made him wide. Sorry.
I made him wide.
I was trying to readjust the size of the image and I made him wide instead.
They're never consistent with
with the eye colors. This is another one. This is actually probably my favorite of the Japanese covers that I've seen for like Omen of the Stars. Again, really working with the texture of the the canvas. And it looks really cool here with the fur, the way that it's rendered. I like it. And also the face is hilarious. It's so good. It's so funny. It looks like when you would look over at your cat and be like, there's nothing going on in that head.
He's like so head empty.
Absolutely the blank. It's a white void in there.
There's just static.
Yeah, it's just static. I don't have too much to say about the Polish cover. It doesn't particularly like speak to me in a way a lot of the Polish covers do, but it's still really pretty to look at. It's really cool.
Sure.
It's got this big.
It's a really good Firestar.
It's honestly a great Firestar. If you zoom in, you can see the three. You can see Lion Blaze, Jay Feather, and Dovewing down underneath Firestar 2.
Cats.
All the spooky cats, the spooky forest, the prettiness of like the red and blue of the sky with the stars above Firestar is really nice.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
It's just like a really not too much for me to say about it, but a really solid cover.
For sure.
That's been the Cover Zone featuring Cats the Musical.
Which warrior cat is the most jellicle?
I'm putting genuine deep thought into this.
I know you are, and I was just saying it as a like goof off transition, like Jill, we're not doing this right now.
No, but
unfortunately, you are going to take my bit seriously.
I am. This is what happens. I think it's Soul. I think he's not good, but he is the most jellicle.
Well, and I don't think you have to be good to be a jellicle cat.
Exactly. He's not, I don't know that he's gonna get to the Heaviside layer. I don't know that he's gonna win the contest, but he is the most, he's got the jellicle vibe, you know?
Yeah.
The thing is that they're shortcutting Firestar to the front of the line for the Heaviside layer every time.
They are, yeah.
And it's a racket, so, you know.
It's a racket. The whole system's rigged.
The whole system's rigged. It's Firestar every year.
Every year it's him. When will it end? Well, dear listener, you're about to find out.
You're about to find out, maybe.
Would you like to take us into this? Scout wrote a whole essay as the summary.
It was so there's still stuff I left out. It was just one of those fucking days, dude.
It's one of those books, man.
It's one of those books. Buckle in, everybody. Here we go. In the prologue, spirits from across time gather together to consult on the impeding threat of the Dark Forest. From Blue Star of ThunderClan to Half Moon, the first Stone Teller, to Midnight and Rock as old as the sun on the surface of the lake, they all share the same fear. This may very well be the end of the clans as we know them. After the accusations raised by Dawn Pelt in the last book, Jayfeather has been restricted to practicing medicine only within the confines of ThunderClan's camp until his innocence in the death of Flametail can be proven. This is majorly ticking him off. But after a surprisingly civil and productive vent session with his mom Leafpool, he decides that he can do whatever he wants forever, and heads to the Moonpool anyway. There, he is visited by Brambleberry, a RiverClan medicine cat we haven't heard from since Crooked Star's promise. She is unhappy with StarClan's reactionary insistence on isolation and encourages Jayfeather to prioritize finding the prophesied fourth cat to aid him, Lionblaze, and Dovewing in their fight against the Place of No Stars. While he remains cut off from most of the medicine cats, he finds an unlikely ally in our old friend Mothwing, whose atheism makes her immune to StarClan's nonsense. In the Dark Forest, Ivypool observes the leadership round up trainees and organize exploratory patrols. Living and dead alike able to manifest themselves directly into the hearts of the territories. With the villainous intent of the dead cats becoming clearer and clearer, many of the trainees begin getting cold feet. When a RiverClan Tom goes so far as to declare his intent to leave in front of Broken Star, he is unceremoniously killed, sending a message to all the living trainees. Either they obey, or they die. Ivypool reports on the state of things to Firestar and the three, but convinces them not to take action against the other trainees. She will take charge of making sure her peers fight on the side of good when the battle begins. After 3 books, Jayfeather finally clues the other prophesied cats into the existence of another destined player. Later, the gaggle of spirits from the prologue send the trio a shared dream, admonishing them for having not yet found the fourth, though they give no further clue as to who it is, nor instruction on how to go about identifying them. Shortly after this, Mothwing brings Jayfeather to the marshes in RiverClan territory, where a single reed has been smoldering for days. Jayfeather interprets this as a sign from StarClan to finally deal with this whole Flametail business. He dreams his way into StarClan to speak to him, but finds it in quite a state. For the first time in the history of the afterlife, the hunting ground's perpetual summer has faded to a bitter autumn, and winter is almost here. With the help of Spottedleaf, Jayfeather finds Flametail and brings him on side. The 3 of them dash across the entirety of the spirit territory, racing against the rising sun to walk in the dreams of the other medicine cats. calling out to ranks upon ranks of their ancestors as they go. With representatives of every clan, past and present, in front of him, Jayfeather's innocence is proven, and he implores everyone to band together against the threats they face. As the sun rises and the meeting adjourns, Blue Star approaches Jayfeather. She reminds him of a prophecy she received moons and moons ago. Fire alone will save the clans. The fourth cat has been right under our noses this whole time. That's right, folks, he may be on his last life, but he's back for one last tour. It's Firestar, baby! The next day, all four leaders meet on the island. The nature of the Dark Forest and the existence of the prophecy is revealed to everyone present. They quickly set to work on a territories-wide alliance. And just in time, too, for almost as soon as the four cats and the four clans align, the Place of No Stars makes their move. The fighting is all-encompassing, hectic, and bloody. Ivy Pool is able to turn many of the trainees against their Dark Forest mentors, but nearly pays the price with her life as a furious Hawkfrost lashes out for revenge. Hollyleaf jumps to Ivy Pool's aid, saving her but sacrificing herself in the process. As Lionblaze and his patrol fight for their lives, they suddenly find their ranks bolstered by Midnight the Badger and the spirits of the ancient cats, including Fallen Leaves, able at last to leave the tunnels behind and reunite with his family. Not far behind the ancients come the cats of StarClan. In a violent scuffle, Spottedleaf faces down with Mapleshade to save Sandstorm, but sacrifices herself in the process. Broken Star raids ThunderClan's camp, playing his favorite card by trying to kill children. Ever-faithful Ferncloud defends the kits, but sacrifices herself in the process. Are you seeing the pattern here? Her death is quickly avenged by Yellowfang, who snaps Broken Star's neck, killing her son for the second time. Broken Star's death sends many Dark Forest cats scattering to the winds. But Hawkfrost persists, still intent on killing his former apprentice. Ivy Pool holds her own, but it's Brambleclaw who gets the final blow on his half-brother, putting a final period on the story of their shared past. Now there's only one major player left on the board. Tiger Star wants blood. Firestar approaches his old nemesis. The two trade barbs, then blows. It's a vicious one-on-one, and while Firestar emerges victorious in a flash of ferocious lightning, his wounds are too severe to sustain him and he collapses. Final life spent at last. With the Dark Forest well and truly routed, the cats begin to assess damage and gather their dead. The Ancients and StarClan depart, bringing the spirits of the newly deceased with them. Jayfeather and Brambleclaw ready for the journey to the Moon Pool for his 9 Lives ceremony. He asks Squirrelflight to be his deputy, the couple's relationship slowly mending after their falling out. Dovewing looks around, at peace. The clans will continue. This was not the end. At the corner of her vision, she notices the forms of Midnight and Rock. They give her a silent bow of thanks before disappearing into the sunrise.
And that's the end of Omen of the Stars.
That's the end of Omen of the Stars. And question mark was planned to be the end of the whole series. It's unclear.
It feels like So it feels like, and this is, I mean, I don't know how this works in the children's publishing industry, but it feels like that moment where a TV show is like uncertain if they're going to get renewed. So they give a like satisfying enough ending to a season where like, we could continue this if the network says okay, but if we don't, then like it's not the worst ending, but it'll do.
I guess I'll get more into it in the Erin Corner. It was very confusing. There was even times when like I watched a video of Victoria Holmes talking about this book, and within that 3-minute video, she contradicted herself about whether or not this was the end. So I'm really confused.
Great, cool. I will say the last paragraph, I think. Yeah, the last paragraph has final energy to it. Like that very last paragraph has like, hey, the clans will continue on as they always have. The world is yours now. It has that vibe.
Yes, it does. And that's the thing that's kind of, I think if it was 2012 and I was a fan of this series and I read this ending, I don't think I personally would, and I thought there was like never any more Warrior Cats coming. I don't know how satisfied I would feel with this ending.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes into the overall thoughts section, which is that I think that this book has some really high highs and is super hyper truncated in the back third in a way that just makes a lot of the buildup that we've had over 6 books feel complete, like just get de-escalated in a way that ends up not feeling very satisfactory.
Really over 12 books, honestly.
Yeah, because think about it. Power of 3 was definitely also involved in all of this, for sure. This really is a direct sequel to Power of 3, which in a lot of ways was a direct sequel to New Prophecy.
Yeah.
So
I think specifically I'm saying 12 because Power of 3 very much was like focused on this specific prophecy.
Yes, Power of 3 has been about this prophecy.
And specifically focused as well on like what the fuck is going on with StarClan in the Dark Forest kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we have we don't still have any protagonists, any POV protagonists from New Prophecy, but we do still have 2 of the POV protagonists from Power of 3 in Omen of the Stars.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you'll notice in my one note that I was able to get down before Zelda took over. My one note was, is it fucked up that I think they could have just done a book entirely of fighting the Dark Forest?
No, I 100% agree. I think
because I feel like if it was supposed to be a war, I feel like it shouldn't have just been one battle. I feel like there should have been like skirmishes, and we should have had like more from. We got a lot of like. I was really glad that we got like more stuff from other clans in this book.
Yes,
it felt like it wasn't just. It was still very much the ThunderClan show, but it wasn't like. There was still quite a bit outside of ThunderClan that made me really, really pleased.
The way that they, like, after the allyship, they set up the whole system of, like, trading cats from between clans and having the runners. That shit was so cool. And there just wasn't enough time to build that out. And I completely agree. The thought of a whole book that is, like, an extended, prolonged war between the two is getting me so excited. That would have been so sick.
Right? That would have been really cool. Even if it's not like, I mean, obviously I'm not saying like the entire book has to be like fights.
Right.
But,
it's
like,
not an entire book of fights.
I would have loved to see more of like exactly how you said, like them trading cats and like running messages back and forth between the clans. Like I would have liked a little bit more buffer between that decision and the Dark Forest launching their attack.
Because it just happens right then, basically.
Yeah, it happens right after they're like, all right, we're going to trade cats.
Before
and then it's
the
like,
cats can even be fully traded.
Exactly.
Which is just too
So-
bad because that's such a good setup.
Yeah, and it would have been really interesting too to like have some moments of like tension of like, hey, we have 9 cats from other clans
Yeah.
in our camp right now. Like,
And it would be so cool if they were there for days, you know, like if this
Yeah.
was like a prolonged chipping away assault and they had to, you know, share ranks for that time would be so cool.
yeah, it would be really cool. They didn't do that though. So
They didn't, alas.
So yeah, that's my overall thoughts. I thought like there were some really good moments that like made me super hyped.
Yes.
And then I think there were just some other moments where it was like, okay, this is all right.
Yeah. I think that we've talked a lot in this arc in particular about chaff in previous books. And the thing that I feel really strongly with this book is that if they had just edited out like 3 to 10% of every other book and sort of shifted the first half of this book, you know, the events of the first half of this book into those books, and then given this book the whole thing be more about the confrontation and given all of this stuff more time to sit with us, I think that it would, and even have a couple of chapters more about the aftermath, which you know, I did read ahead to what we're going to be discussing next time. And we do get some more really interesting stuff, especially in Dovewing's Silence, that kind of gets into what I would have preferred to actually be like here in this book. But yeah, there's just structural issues within the whole arc that I think ended up being detrimental to the structure of this book.
I agree. And this is a small spoiler for Sharing Tongues. There are a lot of people out there who are very, very vehemently like, I hate this book.
Wow.
And I'm like, I can't agree with that. I don't think this is certainly not the worst Warriors book out there, first of all.
No.
And I don't even think it's the worst book of Omen of the Stars.
No,
That honor belongs to a different one.
I really think you can't. Sign of the Moon is the low point for this arc, I'm pretty sure.
So, I can definitely see why people don't care for it, but I don't think it is as bad as some people are like saying it is.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed reading it.
There's a lot of moments in here where I got really hyped up because, like, you know, it's that kind of thing, you know, they come in and they're like playing the hits. We getting cameos from all these old cats, and it's like, yeah, hell yeah, man. Especially if this is supposed to be like a celebration and a final chapter to the series. Like, hell yeah, let's get all of these cats that we've seen in previous.
Let's play all the hits.
Let's fucking get them playing. Let's rev up the jukebox. That's not what you do to a jukebox.
Rev up those fryers.
Rev up the jukebox.
Yeah. No, because literally my first note in the book was just, oh, hey, Brambleberry's here. I've missed her.
I was so excited. I feel like that's the thing I was about to check. I was about to check when Crooked Star's Promise came out. Yeah, 5th of July, 2011. So about 6 months before, 12 months. No, not 12 months. 9 months. Don't worry about it. About 9 months before this book. So I would assume that that's why she was here, because they were probably being written like around the same time. And so it was a little crossover. But I was really happy to see Brambleberry because I really liked Brambleberry when we read that book.
Yeah, I agree.
And it was great to see. It was very much like, if you haven't read Crooked Star's Promise, it's like, who the fuck is this? But I thought it was great. It was great. It was great to see her and have her be like, yeah, StarClan's being fucking stupid.
Yeah, it was really nice to like have other cats be like, hey, StarClan's being dumb as shit. Like, we need to fucking fix this. Just in general, the early book, Lion Blaze and Cinderheart, like back and forth was just like, all right, can you guys just fucking like,
can we just get this over with?
Stop? Because like here's the thing, I think having Cinderheart be the reincarnation of Cinderpelt was a really cool choice, and I feel like this book just like really flubbed the like conclusion of that.
Absolutely. I think that the Cinderheart, Cinderpelt stuff in the previous book is like some of my favorite stuff in the series, and then the ending is so anticlimactic and so deflationary and so nothing. The whole, as you can see, it didn't even make it into my summary, not necessarily because it's not like I hate this, so I'm not putting it in the summary, but just because it ends up being, it was so pivotal to the previous book, and now it's just like so nothing here. And the whole, what is she's got, so like Cinderpelt is not in Cinderheart anymore.
Yeah, it's weird.
Why did that have to be the conclusion? I have some spoiler for the Erin Corner. I have a little bit of some comments from Vicky and Kate on that as well. Some stuff that makes me really mad.
Cool.
There's a thing that I've been waiting to talk about until we got to this point, because I read it when I was doing research like a little while ago, and I've been like, oh my God.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's just, and the whole thing, even with Lion Blaze is being, they're just both doing the same
being
thing.
A little stupid. And they're doing the same thing they've been doing the whole arc, and I'm tired of it.
We've had like a catharsis moment for Cinderheart like 3 separate times, and each of the time you finish that catharsis and you think, okay, great, now the conflict is over, and then the next book starts and it's back in the same soup. We got to get out of the soup. She doesn't have to have this conflict anymore. She's already gone through the character arc. We have to stop resetting her character arc. What is she, in Groundhog Day? What's happening?
Yeah, it is really frustrating how much they reset her like emotional journey through this. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just why I can't I don't enjoy it, is because it feels simple to say like, you are Cinderheart, you are able to live the life that you want because Cinderpelt was unable to live, like she didn't get a choice, so you get the choice and you can choose what you want. And yet, even being told that like 20 times, she's still like, should I be a medicine cat because my former life was a medicine cat? And it's like, that's literally the opposite of what everyone has told you.
We've been through this. And like the other, they could have cooked, because it could have been that she's got all of these memories, right? Like her memories get unlocked, and she's like, I have all this knowledge. I don't know what to do with it. Like I don't, but that's not how it's treated. It's treated as, well, if I have this knowledge, shouldn't it be used for this? Instead of like, I have all this knowledge and it's overwhelming me. It's filling up my brain. I can't separate, what's happening to me now versus what happened to me then. Something like that would be so much more interesting, and they just decided not to do that, and instead it's another fucking duty plot line, because all they know how to do in these books sometimes is a plot line about what is your duty versus what do you want.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to call out one little moment that I thought was fucking hilarious. I just love Jay Feather being a sassy bitch.
I am so good.
When he goes to talk to Mothwing, and Willowshine's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, girl, shut the fuck up. And Mothwing is like, all right, Willowshine, get the hell out of here. Let me just talk to him. And Mothwing says, if StarClan told her to jump in the lake, she would. Jay Feather shrugged. She can swim.
I know, that was so funny.
That was so fucking funny. I love him.
He's the best, dude.
Oh, he's so good.
I really
love that funky little guy.
I love him. I'll call out this other moment, great Jay Feather moment that I really liked. There's a scene where I think it's directly after that, when he's headed home from visiting the River Clan camp to talk to Mothwing, and he gets beset upon by dark forest spirits who are just like fucking around and like bapping
They're
him.
So they just bully this poor boy.
It's truly like they're about to shove him in a locker. The way that they come and
they don't even hurt him. They just like tease him and like push him around.
It's so demoralizing. But he's got this great line. Jay Feather crouched, his body pulsing as his heart seemed to thump the ground beneath him. You'll never win! Terror exploded into fury. He sprang forward, claws stretched and slashed at his shadowy attackers. Claws raked his muzzle and teeth sank into his tail. Yowling with rage, Jay Feather fought harder. You can kill me, he screeched, but that won't stop me. I'll find you beyond my death and I'll stop you. Fuck yeah, dude.
I love him.
You can't kill me in any way that matters.
You can't. He's so good.
So good. Just love
Little lad.
the fucking you can kill me, but that won't stop me is an all-timer.
Yeah.
I actually really Mothwing really kind of a shadow MVP in this book.
For real. I loved her scenes with Jay Feather.
They were so good.
So good.
I really love them hitting this sweet spot with her here, where we kind of have reached this equilibrium of, yes, she doesn't believe in StarClan, but also, yes, she by the end of this book, she definitely knows they exist because spirits manifested in front of her. But she's kind of written here more like, I am not beholden to StarClan more than StarClan doesn't exist.
Exactly. And
which I appreciate a lot more and really works.
I think that works especially well with this world building of like, at this point, there is no denying that they exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like you cannot say no, StarClan and the Dark Forest don't exist because they were literally there, like physically in front of you.
Right.
But like her but her way of being like, I am like, they're not going to control what I do, but they like, clearly they are important to the people around me, so I'm going to respect that. Like that feels like a much more nuanced character choice, and I really, really loved that shift.
Yeah, it's really excellent.
Because as we know, I am a Mothwing atheism hater.
Yes.
But I feel like this is the approach where I'm like, for the world building of this makes sense. Like this is a good way of doing it.
Yeah, and it really, really sings. The scene where she goes to get Jay Feather because there is this burning reed.
Yes.
It's so good. And she's like, to me, this is just a burning reed, but it seems like to you, it will mean something. And it's so good.
That is like all-time favorite moment of this book.
It's really good.
That was such a good scene. And I was like, this rules, actually. Why have we not been doing this the whole time?
Exactly. It's so good. I'll keep watching the flame. If it goes out, I'll know you found what you're looking for. Also, all-time quote from this book. What a great phrase.
Yeah, fucking ruled. Do we want to talk about the blame game?
Yeah, let's talk about the blame game. Tell me about the blame game.
Rock pissed me off.
Never.
He's over here like, it's your fault. If you weren't born, the Dark Forest wouldn't have risen. Like, I didn't ask for this, bitch.
There is so much, like...
And, like, what's wild to me is that Dawn of the Clans was right after this.
Yeah.
And the way that he is like, you guys remembering dead warriors is, like, such a horrible decision, as if that wasn't literally the whole point of Dawn of the Clans.
It's wild. And I guess that kind of, it's not completely incongruous because we know that Rock is like a separate, it is considered a separate entity from the clans. Like he is a cat, but he is not necessarily directly, he is not a direct descendant or like a direct ancestor to these cats.
Like something else.
He's some other thing. So I can understand being like a weird, kind of fae spirit in this world and being like, these fucking cats. But also, don't fucking get on somebody's ass for being born.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
It's not his fault. But also, we had Firestar earlier in this book finally saying the thing I am always wondering, which he defends Leafpool by being like, if Leafpool hadn't broken the warrior code and had kits with Crowfeather, then the prophecy would never have come true. So...
And then where would we be?
And then where would we fucking be? This is what I'm always saying. This is why the way that even in this book, everybody blames Leafpool at one point or another, including Leafpool, just absolutely still continues to drive me insane.
Yeah. The other thing that drives me insane is every single ancestor, Rock,
yes,
StarClan, the ancient, the tribe of endless hunting, throughout these past couple books.
Yeah.
They're like, find the fourth cat. And it's like, okay, Sure. How? Like, you just say find the fourth cat and there's no other clue. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? If you go up to a stranger on the street and you're like, find the fourth person, they're gonna look at you and they're gonna say, please get away from me or I'm calling the cops. Like, you can't just say there's a fourth cat and you have to find them without, like, giving any sort of idea on how to find them.
Exactly. Like,
it pisses me off because they're like, you really need to find them. Like, you're running out of time. And it's like, I would love to find them, but every single time we think we have it, we're wrong.
And nobody will tell us what the answer is. You have to give us a fucking clue.
Yeah.
And then
that shit pissed me off for real.
And then in the end, it's just like a cat from StarClan says who it is. Which also, like, okay, then what the fuck? Why didn't you guys just say that in the first place?
Infuriating.
Absolutely. Just another thing that feels like they were in the, you know, I say they were in the writer's room. They were working on getting this all plotted out, and it really feels like they were like, and there's a fourth cat. And then, but they didn't really know what to do with that or like what that meant. And they never really figured out what to do with that or what that meant. And so they just kept being like, it's really important that they find the fourth cat. And they just didn't have anything to follow that up. Which probably leads into my next question. I really want to know what you thought about the fourth cat, the final piece of the prophecy, being the man, the myth, the legend himself, Firestar.
So you can attest that yesterday when we were prepping for Draw Steel, we were hanging out before we actually got started, and I was complaining about the fourth cat nonsense and said to Scout, I have a prediction, but I don't want you to react. Scout, would you like to share with the listeners who my prediction was?
Jill's prediction was Tigerheart, right?
Yes.
Which I think makes so much more sense.
Yep.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Tigerheart makes sense. Any other cat makes more sense. Here's the thing. I really don't like this choice.
I rolled my eyes at it. I'm starting to come around to it merely because of, like, looking at this as if it were the end of the series. I think if that were the case, I think it makes a little more sense. Like, that gives the series a full circle. It comes back to Firestar in the end.
Which does make sense. But
I do think that if they were going to make such a big deal about finding the fourth cat and, like, all of that shit, like, I do think a different cat would have been a better choice.
I just feel like
especially if it's Firestar, like, you guys fucking know everything's revolved around him. Like, just say, like, hey, tell Firestar that, like, this shit's going on.
Yeah, they spend so much time being like, who the fuck could the fourth cat be? And then it's Firestar. It's like, well, if it was gonna be, that seems like it would have been obvious. We all know Firestar is the world's most specialist boy.
Right.
I agree that if this was meant to be, you know, kind of a final piece of the puzzle here with the series, it is nice to bring Firestar in and have him, you know, have his moment. But at the same time, I feel like we could have had the same sort of full circle feeling if we just had the fight with Firestar and Tigerstar at the end, culminating in both of them dying. And then the fourth cat is like a totally separate thing. Because in the end, Firestar doesn't really play that big of a part in, like, the entire
the whole thing of it.
Like, yeah, the entire, like, scope of the prophecy. It just feels very much like they were like, we want to bring back our favorite guy. Which I can appreciate, because earlier in this recording, I talked about how they say we want to bring back our favorite guy for all of the, like, StarClan cats who have little cameos. And I'm like, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. But they haven't been the leader of ThunderClan for 4 arcs, you know?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think it's a questionable choice in the end, I think is where I'm.
Yeah. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I do think that they could have done something much more interesting and grounded it more in the cast of this arc.
Yes.
Because Firestar has been here, but he definitely hasn't been like a main party member in the way that
For
a lot
sure.
of them have been. I do have to mention, I vaguely mentioned this yesterday when we were chatting. There is an extremely gay Firestar and Graystripe moment. Listen, when push comes to shove, Firestar calls for Graystripe to fight beside him on the front lines of what might be his final battle and asks his wife to stay and defend the Hollow. That's homoerotic. You can't, you simply cannot deny that saying, wife, you stay here. Sandstorm had an extremely important job. I'm not saying that this this is like, but saying, specifying, wife stay
like
here, Graystripe, I want you beside, pulling Graystripe out of a different patrol.
Yeah, he was like, no, Graystripe's coming with me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all right, I know what you are. For sure. Hey, can we talk about Beetle Whisker's death?
Yeah, because holy shit.
So Beetle Whisker gets fucking murked in just a horrible way.
It's visceral.
Yeah, Broken Star fully Beetle Whisker's like, hey, I don't fucking vibe with this. Like, I don't think what you guys are doing here is right.
I'm starting to think that this is a bad idea.
Guys are the bad. Hey, are we the bad guys? And so he's like, I'm gonna leave. And Broken Star starts attacking him, and he lunges at Beetle Whisker, just jaws around his neck, and lifts his head until Beetle Whisker is fully limp in his jaws and cracks his neck.
It's
in his mouth.
Up. It's majorly fucked up.
It's so fucked. Yeah. And then Broken Star just lets him drop and is like, does anyone else want to leave? Which is out of, it's a horrifying scene, but also that shit always like gets me.
It's a really
it's
good
like
version.
A villain kills somebody, is like, does anyone else have a fucking problem now? Mm-hmm. And it's like, absolutely not. No, sir.
No, sir.
But that just, jeez, his death was just a rough moment.
The little bullet point I wrote for this is, in the Dark Forest, Beetle Whisker, fed up with the rancid vibes, tries to leave, and Broken Star kills him by lifting him by the throat and snapping his neck with his teeth. Parentheses, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's nuts.
And my next bullet here is about fucked up cross-territory battle raging through the back end of the book. I really love it when they do this.
Yes.
When they have a cross-territory battle, I know that it's really hard to write, and they do a really good job with it.
Yeah. The battle was really fun.
Yeah. The battle was great.
I wish there had been more. I genuinely think all of the moments of the battle we got are good, but I think it could have been more drawn out, as I said already.
Yeah.
Fucking Fallen Leaves, Morning, Hollyleaf got me.
That shit.
Hollyleaf dying made me so fucking mad.
I know.
She deserved so much better.
I know.
This pissed me off so
I know.
I was like, okay, hey, what the fuck? She came back just for this?
I know.
I cannot fucking believe.
I know.
The way she forgives Leafpool when she's dying.
I know, what the fuck?
And is like, I couldn't bear to leave without getting to know my mother. And it's like, oh my god.
She didn't even get the chance, really.
I know, it fucking sucks.
I think that her dying is probably my least favorite part of this whole thing.
I agree. It pissed me off for real.
And I think that it's indicative of a running problem that arises with all of the deaths during the battle. Mm-hmm. First of all, heavily leans towards female characters, which
is really rough.
I'm not we've had a lot of discussions about when it is and isn't a problem for when it is and isn't a problematic story storytelling choice to like kill off a woman.
Right.
And I don't think there's nothing here that's making me feel like I don't think any of these are cats that are like women that are dying specifically to fuel the like the story for any of the male characters. You know, I don't think we're falling into those pitfalls, but I still think that it's a really unfun trend to notice in who they're choosing, in the way that they are picking and choosing who to kill here.
And I think it's less of like picking who to kill, because like obviously I think, you know, there's more cats that died in this, I'm
right,
sure.
there's more than we see,
but it's the ones that they're focusing on,
yes,
which feels a little rough.
And the way that all of them are framed as sacrifices for the greater good, or specifically sacrifices for other characters in some instances. Like it varies a little bit, but there's a lot of like, there's a feeling here that there is a like, that the writing team here has decided that the most moral, noblest way for a cat to leave the series is to die saving someone or something, right?
Yeah, which is why Firestar dies in the way that he does.
Which is why Firestar dies in the way that he does. And by the time you get to him doing that, you've had it happen 5 other times in the last like 3 chapters. So at that point, you're kind of numb to it too.
I think it would have been really cool if they did a callback. And Tiger Star does kill Firestar. But because we have Star Clan cats fighting on the side of the living cats, Firestar, as a Star Clan cat with all 9 lives now, like comes back and fucking kills Tiger Star.
Oh, that would have been
just like
sick.
how he came back with after losing his first life to kill Scourge. I think that would have been a really cool like parallel to pull.
That would have been really cool. Yeah.
And also if they like, and that would have made it it wouldn't have made it like a sacrifice for the greater good kind of thing. It would have made his death honestly more special. It did not feel like a special death for the literal like protagonist of your whole goddamn series.
No, this is the thing that I had the other biggest, like Hollyleaf's death was really rough, but at least we had time to like, we got a little bit of time with Hollyleaf's death. And then by the time you get to like the last chapter, and by the time you get to throughout the whole big battle, we have a lot of skirmishes between the living cats and the Dark Forest cats. And we see a lot of fights with lesser tiered Dark Forest cats where they get to run off back into the Dark Forest to maybe become a problem again at a future later date or whatever. You know, we've got some threads left open. I have no problem with the threads being left open, but you have really detailed like knockdown, drag out, scroungy, visceral fights between these cats that ultimately aren't as important or we haven't spent as much time with as the major antagonists of the series. And then you get to the way that Broken Star, Hawkfrost, and Tiger Star die. And they all die in basically the same way, which is somebody comes in and tears their throat out in one sentence, and that's it, which does not feel earned in the way that if we had really had time to see big fucked up fights with these cats, it would have felt earned, and there would have been like, there's just no catharsis in the deaths of Broken Star, Hawkfrost, and Tiger Star for me. And I did like that Yellowfang was the one to kill Broken Star again. Shout out to Yellowfang getting to kill Broken Star a second time. That does rule.
But no, I agree. It feels like after hyping themselves up for 12 books.
Yeah, exactly. It's just over. It's over so fast, which I just think is weird. Like, why? I don't know. If I was writing this, I don't think I would ever make the choice to be like, get to a point. It feels kind of like when you get to the end of a tabletop RPG session that has gone like an hour and a half longer than you expected it to.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm trying to wrap up all of these little threads. The whole last like chapter of the book felt like this to me, where it's like, oh, everybody's tired, everybody's hungry, they want to go eat dinner, but I really want to like like, if we don't cover this now,
I just want to send us off on a satisfying note, and we're gonna forget if we don't do it now.
If we don't do it now, we're gonna forget. We have to just get all of this on the table right now. Here is da 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 da, and okay, now we can go. Thank you, everybody. Like, that's kind of the feeling, which oftentimes can work really great in a tabletop session, but for a book, it's just not. It's not it. You know, that's the feeling I got from all of that and the way that the wrap up went.
For sure. Lighter note, certified White Storm moment.
Yes. Oh,
Gray Stripe just being like, "Oh, hey, White Storm."
It's so good.
And White Storm's like, "Move on, youngin. I got this." And he's like, "Oh, you're so cute."
It's so
and then Longtail coming back for Mousefur.
And she's dead. Dude, Longtail, like, barely getting to reunite with Mousefur. Or didn't. He didn't, right? That was the thing. I mean, obviously.
He came in and she's like, "You took your time, always late. That's your trouble."
Yeah.
And he's like,
right.
"Not too late." And then immediately after she gets killed. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Dude, that's the worst. It's the worst. It's okay. They're in StarClan together now.
They are.
And it'll be fine and they'll be happy. Except Purdy's gonna be all alone.
I know. I would like to ask you how you feel about the Maple Shade Spottedleaf scene.
I cannot believe that for once in her life, in this book, Spottedleaf was kind of cool. And right when I had a book where I was like, I kind of fuck with Spottedleaf in this book, they're like, no, it is time. She is dying. She is dying 100% for real. She is the one StarClan cat I think that we see have this fate happen to her. And the conversation they have about it is so fucking weird.
I was reading the last like third of this book over voice chat. I wasn't reading it out loud over voice chat. I was just like reacting as Julia and I were doing like some parallel play. And I just said, "Oh my God, they fucking killed Spottedleaf for good." And I was like, I was just laughing. I was like, I'm sick of her ass. Like, she's gone. I was like, I guess I do really believe in women's wrongs. Like, Maple Shade may be the worst, but like,
she did free us.
She did free us from having to deal with that in the future.
She freed us from the bog.
Because like, here's the thing. She does have Spottedleaf does have a cool moment of being like, you know, I know that Firestar is not mine. Like, he and Sandstorm are happy, but there's still that undercurrent of like, there's still the weird vibes between them.
There's such a weird vibe. Even the thing that Firestar says when he sees that she's dying is she said that she would be waiting for me in StarClan. Like, dude, your wife is right there.
Yeah, your wife is right there, dude. Like, maybe shut the fuck up. So that scene was absolutely fucking wild, but like, I can't say that I'm mad at Maple Shade for killing Spottedleaf off permanently.
No, I'm
because I do think it was kind of funny.
It was, I had completely, because I've read this before and I had completely forgotten about it.
I did also think it was really funny that she was like, "You're just like me. The man you loved chose someone else." And Spottedleaf's like, "Girl, what the fuck are you talking about?"
It was really good that she's like, "Dude, I moved on."
But yeah, the girls are fighting. I believe in women's wrongs. I think that was a wild choice to make. And I have I don't think I have positive or negative feelings about that. I just have I just feel like it is such a decision that has been made.
There's a sense of relief for me that like, oh my God.
Yes, that we won't have to fucking deal with it again.
Maybe, God willing, StarClan willing, we will never have to speak about Spottedleaf on this podcast again.
Yeah, fingers fucking crossed, dude.
Or at least we will never have to like directly interact with a Spottedleaf storyline again.
Yeah.
I like the confrontation with Maple Shade and Sandstorm is really fun, but also imagine being Sandstorm in that moment. Sandstorm hasn't read Maple Shade's Vengeance. Sandstorm has never seen Maple Shade in her fucking life.
Well, and I just think it really is so fascinating to me how like Maple Shade is convinced that like she should be like the boogeyman of every ThunderClan like nursery, and they're all just like, who the fuck fuck are you?
It's really funny. It really is. Yeah, just imagine being Sandstorm being like, who the fuck is this?
Who is this bitch?
Who is she?
Who is this girl? Yeah, crazy shit.
The rest of the notes that I took was just like me yelling about being sad about cats dying and or like, oh fuck, it's XYZ cat. I'm so excited that they're here.
Yeah. Oh, the one moment that I do have to call out of being like, oh my god, this is a little gay, is as Fireheart is dead and Graystripe is like crouching next to him and is like, I would have taken your place if you'd let me.
I know.
And I'm like, get out. Get out.
Get out. Again, his wife is right there.
Yeah.
Both Firestar's wife and Graystripe's wife is right there.
That's so true. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Fascinating choices, but I don't really... Oh, the only last thing that I have to say is when I was reacting out loud to Julia and I was, mentioning all this stuff and talking about how Yellowfang got to kill her son again and Brambleclaw killed Hawkfrost and all that. She's like, this is just like in Naruto. And then she explained to me the Great Ninja War in Naruto. Mm-hmm. And Scout, this is just like Naruto.
Incredible! Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so apparently this is just like Naruto.
Holy shit. Would that have been... It had to have been written before this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think time. I don't know enough about Naruto, but I know Naruto went for fucking ever and kind of is still going because there's Boruto. But I bet that whatever that was, I bet that it was before long 2012. Before. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Manga.
Victoria Holmes does not look like somebody.
Oh, wait, hold on. When was this book?
2012.
Oh shit, they were at the same time.
Holy fuck.
Yo!
This was April 3rd, 2012.
Okay, let's see. This arc in Naruto started in... So the arc in Naruto started November 2010 and ended June 16th, 2014. So it was ongoing.
It was right in the center there.
It was ongoing as this was happening.
Wow.
This is incredible.
Fiction is good.
Yeah.
Fiction is good. It's great that we can read a book about cats and a manga about ninjas and go like, this is just like that.
Yeah. Wow. This is incredible. I love this. This is such a fun fact that I've learned. I don't know what to say about that. Do you want to take us to the Erin Corner?
Sure.
As I'm having a crisis.
Let's head to the Erin Corner. To start off, there's a really interesting thing where there was a special version of the ebook of The Last Hope, which feels extremely 2012. This is like ebooks are, kind of still a novelty. We're doing something special. We're giving you an ebook with special features. And so there's some video bonus content it's just like three-minute videos of Vicky Holmes talking about various things in this book. And one of the this is what I was talking about earlier is in one of them, she starts by saying this is the end of Warrior Cats, basically. She has this whole thing where it's like, it's not just the end of this arc, it's not just the end of Firestar's story, it is the end of Warrior Cats. But then at the end, she's like, now, but don't worry about it. I said this is the end, but we've still got Series 5 coming, and I'm working on Yellowfang's secret. So maybe the idea was that there would be supplementary material and there would be the Dawn of the Clans arc, but the Dawn of the Clans arc would be a prequel, and this would be like, they wouldn't go past this, maybe is what she meant. That like this would be the end of the timeline?
That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from that.
Yeah.
Like, knowing that Dawn of the Clans was the next one is being like, we'll go back and explore previous stuff, but, like, this is the end of the Firestar saga, to borrow from Star Wars.
Yes. So I think that's interesting. And that's the best way I could parse it, but it was very confusing the way that she said it in the video. These are great. They're on YouTube. They're great little, it's just like 9 minutes minutes of content of Victoria Holmes talking about various things, some of which I am summarizing here. She also wrote 3 mini essays where some of the content that I'm going to talk about here is pulled from those. They were called The Curtain Calls, Choosing Which Cats Would Die, Unhappily Ever After, Ending the Doomed Romances, and The Truth About Midnight.
Ending the Doomed Romances. I have a feeling that is not true.
No. No, it was specifically about ending the doom, like finishing off the arcs of the quote unquote doomed romances in the last, like that were still sort of ongoing in The Last Hope.
Right.
Briefly going to talk about some stuff that Kate Carey said. She talked about the Great Battle, which is the big battle in this one, being one of the hardest scenes she's had to write. She kind of tied it in with that 3-chapter battle scene from Eclipse, which I remember is one that we really enjoyed as well. I think I come out of this higher on that battle than on this battle, just because, like I said, there's some pacing issues and some things at the end where I feel like a lot of stuff is kind of sort of rushed and squashed in there and isn't given as much time as it deserves to really grow story-wise. But I think Kate has talked about that these are really hard to write, and I just want to shout out Kate. I think she does a really good job with this stuff. I can see it's hard to being a writer is hard. Writing something like this is really hard, and she does an incredible job with it. Side note, I was trying to find some info. I went on BlogClan, which used to be Kate Carey's blog, but now Kate Carey isn't like involved with it anymore, but it's still running, and it's just a fan blog now. I think they maybe do RP on there. There's also like a monthly newsletter, but when I looked at the monthly newsletter, it's basically just like funny pictures of cats. So I feel like they're having a great time over there, and I love that for them. I did notice that I went on the discussions page. No actual discussions going on, but the most recent comments, which were as recent as 2024, like November 2024, it was just people shouting, "I'm a Therian."
Cool.
It was
good for them.
Making me lose my mind. It was so funny. It was everybody being like, "Oh my god, I'm a Therian. I'm a Therian too." And then a mod coming in and being like, "That's great. This is really for XYZ place. It shouldn't be here on the discussion page." This is really not the
space for that.
Yeah, please go talk about this in the off-topic zone, not here in the discussion zone. I was going there because I was looking at this, which was a response to a fan question where Kate was talking about all the stuff with Cinderheart. And so Kate was saying it was Vicky's idea, as in to have Cinder Pelt reincarnated as Cinderheart. It got kind of blurry as it developed. I wouldn't overthink it, just accept it. Cinder Pelt always wanted to be a warrior, and she thought that by returning in Cinderheart, she could achieve that. But I think she realized that it was Cinderheart's life, and she had no place to be there and left. I don't think Cinderheart was conscious of it at all. This is a really weird... I know that we always say that you don't need to explain it, but I feel like they didn't do enough groundwork on what it means to be reincarnated in the Warrior Cats books. Because when did they become, at what point did it become 2 souls in 1 body? And the answer is in this book, but I don't know why. So yeah, what do you think of this?
I think it's choice.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that being an acceptable reason, but it just does not make that much sense.
Yeah, it doesn't feel in line with the story leading up to that, right? Like, this is the conclusion we get. The conclusion we get is that Cinderheart is having another crisis and being like, I don't know what to do. I'm 2 different cats. And Lion Blaze says the same thing that Cinderheart has been told multiple times by multiple cats, which is you just have to just choose what does your heart tell you, choose what's in your heart. And as Cinderheart kind of accepts this, it is implied that the spirit of Cinderpelt sort of peels away from Cinderheart and descends to StarClan in that moment. But then we also don't see her during. If that was what was happening, it would have been nice to see Cinderpelt during the Great Battle. I don't know. I don't know, man. And then here's the one that I mentioned made me really mad. This is from one of the essays that was in the enhanced edition of the ebook. This is from the Doomed Romances one. This is all a quote from Vicky. She, as in Cinder Pelt, still loved Firestar with all her heart, but she never breathed a word about how she really felt. She was a medicine cat and he had a mate, so she never expected anything different. Lion Blaze, Firestar's grandson, is her reward for being so patient. Ooh. I think this is one of the worst Vicky takes I've ever heard in my life, and that's coming from the person who told you about how the tribe was inspired by 9/11, okay?
Vicky, some things do not need to be shared. That's an inside thought, Vicky. Yikes. Feels gross. Feels gross.
There's so many layers here. First of all, the idea that the only reason that first of all, Lion Blaze is no Firestar.
No, oh God, no. Lion Blaze is several steps down.
Secondly, ew.
Yeah. Brother,
Thirdly, this just sets up this idea of Cinderpelt's whole, like, this entire additional arc for Cinderpelt just being about, like, love of a man, which is I love a love story. I love a love story that crosses, like a death and a rebirth and all that stuff. That shit's great. This just boils it down in such an icky way, and the whole thing about that, like, her reward for her hardships in life and dying young and, like, doing this whole thing where she gets to come back and live again is just so that she gets to fuck Firestar's grandson is so icky.
Yeah.
Vicky, no.
Vicky, don't do it.
Slightly better news. Also mentioned in the ebook videos is editor Erica, a character who we met recently when we were talking about that she convinced Vicky not to kill Foxleap via Eagle. And it turns out that was not the only thing that Erica did with regards to Vicky's thoughts and the things that Vicky thought that she should do that maybe she shouldn't have. Because Erica also... Erica really, it sounds like she was, Vicky, perhaps not following through on questionable storytelling choices would cause less despair. That is the vibe.
Incredible. Now, I will say, though, I am glad that she's keeping out questionable storytelling choices. However, I would like the despair.
Yes. Sometimes we can have some despair as a treat.
A little despair as a treat.
A little despair as a treat. The things that Vicky mentioned in this video on top of the Foxleap thing were an intense Midnight heel turn. Midnight the Badger coming back and being the being big evil? Bad. Soul being her...
Oh, shit.
Soul being like a spy for her that she sent to the clans to fuck with the clans.
Actually, that kind of would have fucked. I'm sorry.
It's kind of cool, but
it kind of would have fucked.
But I don't know that I would feel. I think.
I don't think it would be. I don't think with what's been done, I don't think it would feel satisfying.
Right, exactly.
But I do think if that had been built up, like, that would have fucked.
And then the other thing being Brambleclaw abdicating leadership because of his own fear that he might become evil at any moment. Now, Brambleclaw abdicating leadership, I think, could be interesting. I won't say any more on that, but it might be something that we come back to in the future as we go forward in the series. But the reason that she gave of it being this whole thing that, like, even she had this whole thing where the whole time she was like, but I don't even know if I think Brambleclaw is good or evil. And it's like, you've done nothing but, like, given him, like, he's had chance after chance after chance to prove himself to be a good guy, and he's just doing his best. And I think he deserves to feel like he can be okay. And that's sort of what that sounds like. That's the thing that editor Erica was saying about Brambleclaw, which I can appreciate. I am so curious about what gets left on the cutting room floor. Even like this just makes me more and more interested.
As a writer, I'm always fascinated by what gets left on the cutting room floor.
Mm-hmm. It's
like
good stuff.
In anything I enjoy, I'm like, okay, what were the ideas you had that didn't make it? And were they better than what we got?
And then the last thing is, I mentioned it earlier. One of the essays that was specifically about all of the deaths, like Vicky sort of walking through which cats she killed and why, and da 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 da. I wanted to mention specifically she has a really uncharitable read on the Fern Cloud death, or a really uncharitable reason for choosing Fern Cloud as the character that died. She basically says that she got a lot of complaints over the years about Fern Cloud being in the in the nursery all the time and like not doing other warrior stuff, and says essentially like because I got all of that, you know, I decided to put her in, and look what happened to her. She got killed. Poor Fern Cloud. Like, ooh. Oh, that's a really uncharitable read on your own character.
Yeah, that's rough. Don't care for that. Especially because Fern Cloud was the wife of all time.
She was the wife of all time. And she did so much for the clan. Like, I both disagree with the people who were bugging Vicky about this, and so can understand if there was like a little bit of frustration or maybe like something like that might have driven Vicky to choose Fern Cloud for the big death here. And also think that I'm generally unhappy with Fern Cloud's death.
The thing is, too, like, I'm surprised it was Fern Cloud and not Sorreltail, because Sorreltail was giving me some death flags. Brambleclaw tells her to, like, go to Shadow Clan, and she's, like, glancing back at the nursery, and Fireside's like, well, keep your kids safe. I feel like there was another one, but that might just be it. So I was, like, 100% like, uh-oh, she's not coming home. But as far as I know, she came home. Don't mention it again.
She didn't die here. Or she at least didn't die on screen here.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
She died, it was off. Yeah, fingers crossed for her.
Yeah, I think that's it. If you are a reader, a fan of this series, and you're interested, I would highly recommend going and finding this stuff from the enhanced edition. It's really interesting. I feel like Vicky's thought process is one I want to examine under a microscope all the time, and that definitely comes through in these mini essays and a little bit in the videos. You can find them via the Warrior Cats wiki. You can find the videos on YouTube. It's a YouTube channel that's the only thing they ever uploaded were these 3 videos, which is great. Love to see that. And that's it for the Erin Corner, a hefty one this time. Take us along to sharing tongues.
Yeah, I will. We have some YouTube videos that I pulled up. We've got a Firestar v Tiger Star. Okay, shut the fuck up, Fortnite commercial.
Fortnite, no.
It is like a storyboarded multi-animator project that's also voice acted.
Yeah, I believe it's fully animated.
It is. It says storyboarded, animated, and fully voice acted.
It is really cool.
Very cool. Another one, an animatic of Firestar's final speech, but it is like, it's a speech from Independence Day rather than Firestar's actual speech, but like the animatic is supposed to be. Yeah. And then, so I made a joke because, as I mentioned, this may have been before we started recording.
It was before we started recording, but.
So it is Oscars. Today is the Oscars. And I joked to Scout about like, oh, I should make a in memoriam slideshow of all the cats that died in the Omen of the Stars arc. Hey, well, 2 people already beat me to that for the last hope. And there are 2 very old slideshows on YouTube from 12 years ago.
Yes.
And it's just the Last Hope deaths. It's these lovely, crunchy JPEGs.
It's incredible. I'm looking at them now.
One of them is set to One Last Breath by Creed.
Holy shit.
Which is incredible. Just, especially because that song has currently had a renaissance on TikTok. I just think it's hilarious. So if you want to imagine images of people's fan designs for the Warrior Cats pulled from Google Images or DeviantArt, no doubt, and put on a slideshow with some lovely transitions
There's one for Spottedleaf that's literally just a photograph of a tortoiseshell cat. It's just a
this
picture.
Is so perfect. While Creed plays in the background singing Hold Me Now, I'm 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking maybe 6 feet ain't so far down. Damn, I just think that's hilarious. But what's even funnier is that the other Rest in Peace video is set to Payphone by Maroon 5.
Why?
I wish I could tell you.
That's so funny.
So, like, I just think both of those are impeccable choices.
Really good. Also, shout out to one slide in the payphone one that is just a gobbledygook garbage, like artifacted, fucked up, like screenshot of somebody's computer screen. Like it's the wrong image was put in here at 1:15.
Fuck, that's so good.
It's
incredible. So
I love
just one. I don't think I can beat those.
No,
honestly,
you can't. It's
in terms of Tumblr, The Last Hope gives a lot of like unrelated stuff, obviously, because there's other pieces of media with that name, but the things that we do see are a lot of live blog reactions, basically, just of people reacting to this book in general, like pulling specific lines. Somebody said they were mad there was no Ash for redemption in The Last Hope.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
I'm too poisoned by future knowledge to know if I feel like that would have ever been on the table. But even what we know so far, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Oh, somebody said misconnections in the Dark Forest battle. Leopardfoot seeing Tiger Star, Willowpelt beating the shit out of Darkstripe, Sorreltail beating the shit out of Darkstripe, Stonefur beating the shit out of Darkstripe. Like, they just really wanted all of these to happen. Fuck. I was so pleased that Cloudtail fought Darkstripe. I thought that was hilarious.
It was great.
He's like, you don't even believe in StarClan. And he's like, no, but I believe you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, but I believe I'm gonna kick your ass. But he got away.
Yeah, it was a lot of like, hey, it would have been really cool to see these other things. And I'm like, yeah, if we'd had a whole book of this battle, maybe we would have.
I would have loved to see more like direct confrontations between StarClan cats and the Dark Forest cats who killed them. That would be sick.
That would have been really cool.
That would have been so cool. Ugh.
Yeah. Anyway, Reddit, like I mentioned earlier, opinions seem divided. Either it was a horrible book or it made everyone cry, which the two things don't have to be mutually exclusive, but it is Reddit, so.
Yeah. I don't think it's horrible. I also don't think it's the best. I did cry a couple times.
I did not cry during this one. I'm safe. Marked safe from crying in a Warrior Cats book today.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Reddit has to draw a direct line. It can only be good or bad.
Reddit is the place of firm opinions. AO3 had some works for the Last Hope. There's one that like takes a look into whatever the fuck's going on in WindClan the whole time, because we don't really get a lot of that.
No, most of our time in WindClan is spent not seeing anything that's happening with WindClan and just seeing Ivy Pool get the shit beat out of her by Hawkfrost and like 3 goons.
Yeah. There's a fic of Crooked Star visiting Willowshine.
Oh.
About the whole like StarClan not talking to the medicine cat sort of thing.
Interesting.
Trans Mothwing had
Let's go.
I didn't read this one yet, but yeah, actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. And then one of Firestar visiting Princess in her dreams after he dies. To say goodbye to her.
That's nice.
Yeah. I hope she's doing well.
I hope she's doing okay.
How old was Firestar when he died? Hold on. Firestar.
I want to say 7.5. I don't know why I want to say 7.
Then she's doing great. Let's see. Firestar was 8 years old at death. Okay, yeah, so she was doing great.
She's perfectly fine.
She's perfectly fine. She's living her best life. Yeah, so, there were definitely some I feel like more so than the other books, there were a lot more fics of like exploring other like clans' perspectives on what's going on, which I really appreciated in terms of the available fic.
I like that.
But other than that, yeah, I mean, opinions again are kind of like, yeah, it wasn't the greatest book, and you know, some people say like this was the end of Warrior Cats for me, like this was the last book they read, whether they stopped because they were getting too old or they stopped because they felt it was satisfying, you know, just depends on the person. But I did notice a lot of folks say like this was the last Warrior book for me, and like this is where the story ends in my opinion.
That makes sense.
And I think that's fair, especially because it came out in 2012, and you know, that's when I graduated high school.
Yeah.
Aging myself here.
It's also when I graduated high school.
I know. But like, you know, and like I mentioned, like I was reading this series since it started coming out. So like, you know, those who were at the age that it was being marketed to when it first came out were kind of
aging out around that time. But
yeah, I don't want to say you're too old for it, because clearly here we are, 30-year-old individuals reading Warrior Cats books at least once a week. So it's not an aging out thing, but like, you know,
your tastes change.
Your tastes change.
You're
also
going
off to college.
You begin to gain access to more media like as you're getting to that age where it's like I can read adult things now.
Yeah. So yeah, I like there's no shame in continuing to read children's literature, obviously, but there's also no shame in being like, all right, this is not for me anymore.
Yeah, if it's not for you anymore, it's not for you anymore.
And I feel like leaving high school is a very like particular time where that decision occurs.
Yeah,
consciously or unconsciously. So yeah, that's what I got on the fan side.
Hell yeah. Shall we do our Warrior Cat of the Week now?
I think so.
All right. My pick this week is our favorite grumpy guy himself, Mr. J Feather.
Oh, nice. I almost picked him.
I just feel like there's so much in this book where it is like the J Feather show. You know, he really is pulling a lot of plot stuff along. I really like seeing him decide just like, fuck it. I'm just going to do what I want. I'm going to do whatever I want forever. And StarClan can't tell me what the fuck to do because according to them, I have more power than them. So you know what? Fuck off. I'm going to go do what I want. And everybody thinks I'm a murderer and that's stupid. He just had such a great energy in this book. I really, really liked it.
I agree. I think he was great. And I would have picked him if I have not been picking J Feather. I feel like I've picked him several times this arc.
I think that you've definitely given J Feather his due this arc.
I've given his due, and I do agree he's like shining star, but I have to give credit to Mothwing for completely, in one book,
hell yeah,
180 changing my entire opinion on this character.
Fuck yeah.
I just think her character moments for me just were top notch. I just think that they finally are utilizing her in the plot as like not a hindrance, but as a fresh perspective. And I just think it was really nice and a really I just really enjoyed her in this book. I was like, wow, I actually can't wait to read Mothwing's Secret.
She was great in this book.
Yeah, I really, really loved it.
Some of my favorite stuff in this book is Mothwing stuff.
Yeah. And I just thought like, wow, this is a really for a character that we really don't ever see, this was some really good work. And so that's why I picked Mothwing. I just thought her stuff was really good.
That's awesome. Makes me so happy.
See, I don't have to be a hater all the time.
Many times you are correct in your haterisms.
Many times I do have to be a hater, but I can change, listeners. I can change.
Isn't that what life is about?
Isn't that what life's about? Growing and learning. You want to take us out?
I should take us out. Oh my god, we've been recording for 2 hours.
I know, that's fucking crazy.
Woo! All right. If you have thoughts, opinions, questions, or memes to share with us, you can write to us at pawsandclawspod@gmail.com. That's paws as in what a cat has, claws as in the part of speech, pod as in podcast. We are also on Blue Sky at Paws and Claws, and on Tumblr at Paws Clause Pod. Listeners who are 18 years and older can come join us on Discord, which will be linked in the show notes. We are brought to you by the TWG Podcast Network, which you can find at theworstgarbage.online. You can find me on Tumblr or Blue Sky at HumbleGoat, and you can see the art that I do, including our podcast cover art, at scoutwilkinson.myportfolio.com.
And you can find me on Blue Sky at plot-twists or on Tumblr at antique-romantic. Our next episode will be out in 2 weeks, where we will discuss the novellas Mothwing's Secret and Dovewing's Silence. Read along by buying the book from a local bookstore or checking out copies from your local library. Until then, dear listeners, may StarClan guide your paws.
TWG, the worst garbage, online.